then I'll probably just we'll stop early, you know.
Yeah, no, I understand for sure. Yeah, that's fine. Um, I mean, we could always do it in the next couple days too. I mean, even though it's not a normal scheduled thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I
How
mean,
was your holidays?
oh, it was good. Thanks. Yeah, it was kind of crazy holidays. My side of the family's up in Minnesota, and so we were up there for a week. So a lot of family time, but that was good. How about you? How was your holidays?
It was good. Yeah, really nice and relaxing for the most part. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
my wife Alyssa's standing next to me. We got a closet next to where I'm sitting, and she looks at me and she goes, "Your wife totaled your van." She said, "Yeah, right."
We already know about
Uh,
that.
yeah, thankfully that ended about as possibly well as you could hope. I mean, she walked away fine. No one else was hurt. Insurance is covering the van, so I
Oh,
mean,
that's good.
yeah. So it's I feel like we dodged a bullet. You know, I mean, those accidents are so unpredictable.
Yeah, especially in the wintertime, man, when it's so many of them are caused by weather.
It was one of those incidents that if I had not I just wasn't really up for it that day because I was actually just worried about her and stuff. But like, it probably would have made like a great like video actually, like 200 feet off the road. You know, like one of those um, like just live action videos that you could talk about how the accident happened and stuff. But
Yeah. That would
like,
have got a lot of views, probably. I'm
yeah,
guessing.
I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Like, but I don't know. It's funny, you know. One of the first videos I ever saw of Nothing Fancy was a video of him cutting himself. For real, like when he had a tenacious in his pocket and he stuck his hand in his pocket and it friggin' cut his finger real deep. And that video has like 1 million views. I mean, it's ridiculous. Um,
I
so
don't think I've ever caught myself on camera, knock on wood.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I've only done it once. I did it with that Delica video, the Super Blue Delica, and that was actually it was off camera, but then well, maybe it was on. I forget. I gotta look at the video again. But it was like one of those things where I was like dropped the knife on my finger when I was filming it. It was brilliant.
Well, I've dropped knives before, but I just always get my hands clear. Like, I drop knives on videos. I'm like,
Right.
hands clear.
Um,
But, yeah, that's good to hear she's okay. Did you guys get a new car yet?
yeah, yeah. We just like the Honda Odyssey a lot, and we got practically the same exact one that we had, a different color. So really branching out.
Yeah. We should
But
take this opportunity to get the same car we had before.
exactly, yeah, same exact thing. Maybe we'll get a color we like better, and make sure that the tires are going to be good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I don't.
is all your family in Utah, or did you travel at all?
Yeah, they're all out here for the most. Well, all mine are. My wife's family is mostly here. Some are in Oregon.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, but we didn't travel. We traveled one year up to Oregon. As the first year we were married, we went up to my mother-in-law's house in Medford, Oregon, which is like southern Oregon.
Okay.
It's like a 13, 14-hour drive, and we did it in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And we had a brand new. Our son was 2 months old, I think. No, not even 2 months. Like a month and a half old, and we drove up there, and we had no idea where we were going. This is before we had like GPS on your cell phones, you know. We had cell phones, but no like GPS to track it. We didn't have like a little GPS, so
Old school
we're
stuff.
going off like my mother-in-law's directions, which were horrible. So we got lost in the middle of like I think it was by Klamath Falls, Oregon, and we were kind of like up in the mountains a little bit, and it was really dark and it was cold and icy. Yeah, and we're like, and I even said to my mother-in-law, or I said to my wife, call your mom. We don't know where we are. We're lost. We're in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, call your mom and like have her come meet us halfway because it's not that far from where she was, and have her kind of like so we can follow her to her house because we can't get cell coverage where we were to call really well, and we did call and she was like giving us just horrible directions like okay like you're down south and they're like take the next go as far as you can see and then dirt road and you know what I mean like stuff like that and I was like oh man this is gonna be bad. So we get lost, and we're going around. We're in these mountains, and we're going around a corner, and it's icy, and we hit a patch of ice and spun off the side of the road, man, like into a tree,
Oh
like
no! Wow. Into a tree?
T-boned a tree, like bam.
Oh no!
Yeah.
You could get in the car and your wife?
Yeah, me and my wife and my son, who's like a month and a half old, and it was like a new car. When it was a Mazda 6, I think, and it was I think it was new. It was brand new to us anyway,
Yeah.
and it was totaled, and the airbags went off and everything. We were all fine. Not as I mean, I had some bruises on my arms from doing like that motion on the airbag, hitting it, and a little sore, that kind of stuff. But my son was like, he was asleep. He had no idea we just got in this.
Yeah, well, that's great. Wow.
Yeah, but what sucked was it was really cold. It was probably like 20 degrees or less, and we're like in the middle of the mountains, and there's no one around, and we're like, oh my gosh, can I get cell coverage? And we did. So we called my mother-in-law and said, hey, we just got in this accident. We need someone to come get us. We're going to call. It was like, I think it might have been Christmas Eve even, man. It was crazy. I think we were going to call the police and such, and then this truck came by, luckily, saw us off the side of the road, saw the lights, stopped. It was like an old guy and his wife, and they put my son and my wife in the car, and me and this old guy kind of just waited for someone to come,
Crazy.
And it was Christmas Eve, so we just left the car there, man. We like, we'll deal with it later. Like, we'll call a tow company and have them tow it,
Yeah.
and deal with all that crap. I'm like, there was no other cars involved, like, no one was hurt, no reason to involve the police, really, so we just did that, and the next day was Christmas, I think, and so the day after Christmas, we called and got the car towed out of there, and then, we called our insurance and all that stuff, but we drove out there, so we had no way to get home.
That's crazy. Unbelievable. So did you end up buying a car or something, or?
No, we ended up driving up to Portland, I think.
Okay.
Flying out of Portland.
Wow.
So it was expensive.
Right.
You lost your car, you lost you ended up flying home, and it was just bad.
Jeez.
Yeah, so.
You don't want to go back now, for sure. That's a bad experience.
Not in the winter, no. We've been back there in the summer, which is fine. And we have a different way we go now. We actually know where we're going. And
Okay, right, yeah, right.
there's like two ways you can get there. You can go I-80 all the way to Reno, and then you go up I-80 and through California a little bit, and then you hit Southern Oregon. That's the safest way. You're on like interstate the whole way.
Yeah.
Or you can go. You get to a certain point in Nevada where you head like a different way, and you kind of go like a back way, which is it shaves like maybe an hour off your time.
Okay.
That's the way we went, and it's sketchy. Like you're like in the middle of nowhere for half the time, and there's some roads, like there's this one road that you go down, and it has like a huge drop off on the side, and there's no guardrails. And it's like a highway. It's like truck drivers have died there. Like it's like amazing to me that they still have it there without any railings, to at least like hopefully stop you. Something happen. So we don't go that route anymore. I'm like, I'll drive the extra hour to avoid that after that horrible experience,
Yeah, no, it's I'm amazed how many abandoned cars I see during the winter, especially out here if you have a bad snowstorm, because you can't. I mean, it might not even be accessible to a tow truck half the time. So, I see cars sit sometimes for a week before they disappear on some of these country roads. I mean, this our van, it sat there for practically the whole day before. I mean, the whole afternoon before it got towed away. It was in the morning that the accident happened. How are you doing for views now? Are you checking that out?
Yeah, we have like 7 viewers.
Okay, cool. Who's here?
Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll do a little shout out. We got Hawaii Volcano Squad, Trunkback Jim, Space Buns. Those are the ones that have commented. We have some other viewers, but they're not commenting yet. So yeah, we got a few people. I don't expect a huge crowd just because we're just starting this up again, and once we get it going every week, it'll pick up.
Right. Yeah, that sounds good.
Hancock Brewer is supposed to be on, everyone that's watching, but he's having some technical difficulties over there in Kentucky with his internet, which it is what it is.
Too bad. Hopefully he figures it out.
Yeah, hopefully he figures it out. And Metal Trooper, he's said he was going to take a little break for a while. He's going through some personal stuff, so yeah. If you guys are wondering where he's at, he's not going to be on for a few weeks. I don't think so.
Yeah. Best wishes to him in the meantime if he's watching. Hope he's...
Yeah, I don't know if he's watching or not. I sent him an invite to the chat just because if he was feeling up to it, he could join. But not. We wish you the best, man. We got Fringe Sniper just joined the chat. Yeah. Did you get any new knives or anything lately?
Well, I just got a traditional today in the mail, actually. It is. Yep.
Is that a crown lifter?
No, I wish it was. Those I've been looking at those two. This is a boy's knife, number 15.
Oh yeah.
Eastern cutlery. So it's a clip point.
Nice.
Yeah, it's little. It's pretty wide. So because it's obviously got the two blades. But I've been kind of bit by the traditional bug lately. So
I was going through that too. You saw how many I was reviewing and putting on the channel and stuff.
Oh no, man, that was crazy.
I was going on a binge there. I've kind of slowed down on the traditionals. For a little bit, anyways. I have. Did you end up getting in on that pre-order for those single blade?
No, I was emailing back and forth with the guy, and it was just like, Aiden's daddy, who's on Instagram, said that I could buy one of his later on if I was interested. So I might do that. I don't know.
Well, I'll have a couple for sale. I bought like 9 of them.
Wow! Holy cow!
Well, there's so many different variations. There was the clip point, the Warncliffe, and the sheep's foot blades.
Right. Yeah.
And then there was like 4 different handle materials. I didn't get any stag because I'm not a stag fan, but I got the. And the reason why I did that is, first of all, there's no pictures up. I mean, I know what the 77 frame is. I have, a couple 77s, so I know the size. I love the size. I had one of the 2-blade Barlows, but I didn't like the 2-blade. I knew I was gonna like the 1-blade.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen these handles at all. Like, there's no pictures of the socket, or no, it's not socket. It's old red bone, tan bone, and African blackwood, which that one's pretty easy to figure out what it's gonna look like. But the other two, I'm just wondering what they're gonna be like, and then the different blade shapes. I mean, I definitely want the sheep's foot. I'll probably keep a couple of them and sell the rest of them, honestly.
Okay. Yeah. Keep me posted. I mean, it's honestly just been pretty overwhelming for me. Like, I've been just kind of trying to watch a lot of videos. I've been watching some of your traditional videos, and I mean, all the different patterns. Like, I mean, there's so many. Like, it's overwhelming, and like, I mean, the way that they're measured, just being closed and stuff. Like, I'm like having to like kind of reimagine what these knives look like, having not handled most of them.
Yeah, it's different. It's definitely a different world of knives than your modern folders. So
I've been kind of watching one group on Facebook that they have a really dedicated group of collectors. It's called Slip Joint Paradigm. It's actually a secret group. I don't know if you're on it or not.
You know what? I think the guy that started it, isn't that the guy that that does the sack modding? I can't remember if it is or not, because I'm a member of that group. That was public, and then it went secret, and then I'm a member of some traditional knife on YouTube or on Facebook. I can't remember what it's called. Traditional Knife Collectors, I think.
Yeah, there's a couple that I like and I'm on, but they've been pretty good about answering questions I have and stuff. And I mean, Northwoods has been coming out with some pretty interesting knives lately too. Obviously, like the blue camel bone stuff looked really gorgeous, but like I just like didn't know enough about them to like know which one I would like or whatever. So, did you get one?
I did. I got one of the Hawthorns in the blue camel bone.
Okay.
Yeah, these have been out a while. I have a video filmed. I just haven't put it up yet.
Okay.
The blue camel.
How long is that?
This one's a little bit longer. I want to say it's 3 7/8.
Wow. Okay.
but it's not too big. Like it's actually like I think perfect size. It's just like shy of a 3-inch blade. I got the clip point 'cause they have a Warncliffe, but I already have the Fremont and Warncliffe, so
Yeah.
it's got a really slim, skinny handle, which I really like, and it's just real comfortable to use. I mean, it's
Well, it
nice.
looks like the handle's actually contoured a little bit in the finger
Yeah,
area, which is different than a lot of them. I mean,
yeah, that's why I like the swayback style because it's got that that kind of that flow
yeah,
back
yeah.
better.
I
Very
really
good.
go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Some of those, like that 15, they have like a pretty straight handle.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So this one's just like, here, I'll get out of the way so you can see. Um, yeah, it's very. I mean, the thing I was mostly concerned about was if the pen knife would have a hot spot there. I mean, not that I'm gonna like be doing anything heavy duty with it, but it
yeah,
actually it's pretty good. Like it's not a problem.
yeah.
But
I
yeah,
find,
I really like the clip. I've always liked clip points. I mean, I like that blade shape, and I mean like I like Warnies, I like Warncliffs, and some of the different Viper blade shapes are pretty cool. But like I actually like the belly on clip. I think the belly on clip points is probably more useful than the Warncliffe shape for some of the most of the kind tasks that I'm doing, which is like food prep. Um, but I got this in a trade actually. I traded a guy for a pen and some cash, which I thought was a pretty good deal.
there
um,
you go.
um, but what stuff have you gotten over the holidays?
I got that Hawthorne for Christmas, and then I've had a few recent additions. I got this. I posted this on Instagram. You probably saw it. This is Sabenza.
Oh, I didn't see that. Wow, sweet. What do they call that one?
They call it the Riddled. It's one of the computer graphic Sabenzas. It's actually got holes in it. They kind of look like they're not real, but they are real. Like they're meant to look like bullet holes in the titanium. And then it's got that little target. It's a limited run kind of thing, and they're actually no longer made.
Hmm.
So you can still find them out there, but they're not producing new ones. So it kind of appealed to me because I'm an avid shooter too, and I was like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
pretty cool. So
Full Sabenza too, full size.
yeah, it's a small.
Oh, it's a small. Okay. Oh, nice. Okay. Well, look
Yeah,
at that drop. That's sweet.
I prefer the small, man. It's like the perfect size knife, I think. It's just perfect for my hand. It's so lightweight to carry. It's a good EC size, and I find that the smalls are a lot smoother than the large Sabenzas.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, you see, I've
Yeah,
only the one that I have, just the real simple,
yeah,
plain Sabenza is the first one I've had, and I was really impressed. I mean, the guy I bought it from used it pretty hard I mean, it was his EDC basically for almost 2 years.
oh
Um,
yeah,
and so it was broken in perfect when I got it. Like no issues at all. No issues at all. It was perfect and like super smooth, free falling blade and stuff when you disengage the lock. And I mean yeah, it was pretty impressive. But it's definitely also made me want to get some other ones too. So
yeah. No, I have that in Singo. I got this one, and I have the Bug, man. I want like more. I was
right,
getting a small inlaid. I really want a small inlaid Sabenza and like a nice wood, like the snake wood, if I can find one, which is really hard to find, or the no, ebony, I think.
yeah,
I don't know. There's some nice ones, but that's what I was gonna buy. I sold my Menandi.
okay,
It was just a little touch too small. So here's the story behind that too. I sold that. I bought that Menandi because I wanted to try one, and it was in Snakewood, which are hard to find.
yeah,
And the guy had just got it back from the spa, so it had a brand new blade. It had the old. It was an older Menandi, but it had the new S35 blade, and it had the new nail nick because they changed the nail nick on them.
yeah, right, yeah,
So I knew all that. And it was perfect. I mean, there was nothing wrong with that knife. 100% perfect. I only carried it in like the leather slip, so it was like brand new looking. The other guy, I don't think it ever. I don't even know why he sent it into CRK because it looked like it had never been used. But they do such a good job on their spa treatments that you don't even know. Like it could have been like hammered and it comes back looking brand spanking new. You know.
right,
So I decided to sell it. I sell it on Blade forums and I post it how it was and said, look, it's basically it looks brand new, and I gave it for a really good price. I think it sold for $330, which they go for $400 new.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
So the guy gets the knife, and he decides to he's like, I got it today, and there's some things that are concerning. The blade's slightly off center. You didn't tell me that, and I'm like,
Oh.
no, it wasn't. I was like, I remember that blade being perfectly centered. I'm like, I even have a freaking YouTube video up that shows that it's perfectly centered.
Yeah.
And I never adjusted the center, but I'm like, okay, well, that's stupid. I mean, that's a stupid small thing,
Yeah, you should be able to.
Then he's like, oh, and the birth card shows that it's S30 V steel, but it's S35 yen, on the blade. I'm like, well, that's because it, like I explained.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I didn't know that, and I wouldn't have bought it, so I want to return it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
oh man, that's the worst.
well, and it's like, I want to be like, dude, I'm not Walmart. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have unlimited return policy. But also at the same time, and I think he's being like ridiculous. I'm like, really? Because the blade's slightly off center, you want to return a $330 knife? Like, you know what I mean?
Right. For sure.
And I made the mistake of spending the money on this, thinking that everything would be fine because the knife was pretty much mint. I mean, I'm like, there's no way anyone's going to find any fault with this knife because, and come on, I not that I'm an expert, but I handle like hundreds of knives lately.
Yeah.
I think I can understand. So I was so irritated. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll return it, but I'm like, and he's like, sorry for the inconvenience. I'm like, yeah, it is an inconvenience. And I'm like, it's a big pain in my butt because you're going to return it to me, and then I'm going to have to find that money to return to you, and that's going to make my wife very happy, not.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I'm just going to post it back up for sale when I get it, and it'll sell fast again for that price, so I'm not worried about it, but it's the same time, it's just a pain,
I agree. It's probably been close to 4 or 5 years now. But when I first got into watches, the first 2 or 3, let me think about the math here. I mean, I really started flipping watches hardcore probably around 2007 through 2009, I would say. I mean, I had a lot more money in watches than I did now. Like my wife and I were talking about it, and she thought I had $5,000 in watches, which is about half of, or I have only half that in watches now. But I would always be running into these concern trolls on sales. These concern trolls who are like, my bracelet had a little scratch on it, and I didn't see that in the photo, so I need to return it. And like, not only is it like, a complete waste of time, but it's almost. I mean, usually guys who want to return something, they didn't actually inquire properly into the thing they were buying ahead of time. Like, yeah. I have a problem being a picky buyer. Like, I would rather be a picky buyer than a pain in the ass, return, sale, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not worth it. So I'm comfortable asking for more pictures or a video or whatever if I'm buying a watch or something these days. It's kind of like, I mean, I feel like with buying and selling, that'd be an interesting topic to talk about. But I mean, you buy.
Let me grab I think my laptop's gonna die. Let me grab the charger real quick.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Well, now I'm sitting here by myself, and I feel like Malcolm in Jurassic Park. Chaos theory. I don't have some hot blonde that just was letting me hold her hand. But I also wasn't around a giant pile of Triceratops shit, so that's not so bad. I can't see the comments either, so I'm sure the comments are brilliant at this point. I also have this little flashlight. This is a little Eagle Tack. I'm shining it into my.
You're just rambling on, huh?
Yeah, I'm like someone is probably watching, and now I'm shining a flashlight into the camera.
People are gonna love that, dude.
Right, yeah. I hope you enjoyed that. Every laptop that was ever made is a piece of shit. That's the first thing that they decided when they made computers, is that everyone is going to have frigging problems all the time.
So my laptop, can you see me, Andrew?
Yeah, sure, yeah, for sure.
Okay, my laptop has this annoying problem with it that sometimes when I plug in the charger, the screen goes black.
Oh, great.
That just happened. So I'm glad you can see me, and I can see you now on the other screen that I have open for the chat and the comments,
Yeah.
But I can't see you on this other one, and that's really annoying.
Oh, man, bummer.
I don't know how to fix it either. It's some weird thing. It's like you plug it in and it just shuts the screen off. I mean, I can see the webcam still going.
Right.
So whatever, we'll work through it. This is fun. Yeah, no, it is an interesting topic, and I've done on Blade forums. Let's just see real quick. I'm gonna go to my feedback here. I think I've done like 116 transactions or something on there.
Right. Uh-huh.
And what? Dot Defender? What the crap is that? I don't know what that was. Okay, that's interesting. They're having problems with their. I'm trying to click on my name, and it's like telling me that Dot Defender blocked your request. I don't know what that is. All right. Anyway, yeah, they're having problems on Blade forums, but it's like 116. That's really weird. They're having really weird problems. I've like something like 116 transactions on there. I've done transactions on Instagram. I've done them on YouTube. Some of them on my channel. I've really never had anyone, not happy. I had one guy that I did a trade with that he was a total, just a piece of work, So we ended up trading back and just calling it a wash, and it was a huge freaking mess. And he left me negative feedback and so. Yeah. Anyway, and it wasn't like no one really did anything wrong. Well, I didn't do anything wrong. What had happened is I was misinformed on something I'd bought from someone. So kind of came down to they didn't properly disclose something, and then I traded with that guy and I'm like, oh, I seriously didn't know. I apologize, and he was freaking out like I was trying to rip him off or something. I was like, it was like a Spyderco Paramilitary 2, and it had orange honeycomb scales on them. And the seller I got them from said they were John Grismo scales, and John Grismo used to make Paramilitary 2 scales just like those. Mm-hmm. So I thought those were, that's what I said they were. So I traded this Lion Steel SR1 for him, and I got it. And here's the thing. The guy did the trade because he thought he was going to be just so sneaky because those Grismo scales he thought were worth so much money that he was just going to keep the pair of two and sell the scales and make all this cash. He tries to sell them, and someone says those aren't John Grismo scales. Those are Putnam scales, which are still really good scales, But he's trying to sell them for like a premium price tag, and people were like, "Dude, those aren't even Grismo scales." So he gets mad at me, and I'm like, "Oh my heck!" I'm like, "I'm sorry, I didn't know. The guy told me they were Grismo scales. I didn't, think to, you know what I mean? It was just a complete innocent thing." I said, if you want to trade back or whatever, he's like, oh, and he just kind of threw this big fit about it and got so, like, irate. I mean, he was, like, almost threatening me physically and stuff, and he wasn't. I'm like, wow. So I made a thread on Blade forums about it, and I said, hey, this guy has just gotten out of control. I'm like, I even offered to trade back. He's being ridiculous, this, and everyone was kind of backing me, like, well, it sounds like he didn't know that those weren't those scales, and who really cares if they weren't anyway? The value of the knives are still similar, so the guy ended up he ended up keeping the Paramilitary 2 with the scales. He's like, I'm done with this, and so I kind of stood my ground, I feel like, and I didn't get taken advantage of, But I was willing to work with the dude because he was, upset they weren't real Grismo scales, which they weren't, and that's, not my fault. But so it just kind of goes to show one person is not truthful, with someone, and then it could, three people down the line, it could affect them,
Definitely. And I
learned there. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, and I'm sure it's true on knife forums as well as it is on watch forums. Your reputation is everything.
Yeah.
So you have especially I have some forums where I have, probably close to 10,000 posts or something, and if you have that many posts and you don't have a stellar reputation as a buyer or seller, people are going to avoid you. They're not even going to want to sell to you. let alone buy things from you. And so it's, I mean, the guys I take care of the most by far are sales that I do on watch forums. You know, as opposed to like selling something on eBay or even selling something on a Facebook group. Like usually those people are a lot more laid back on the Facebook groups than they are on forums.
Yeah, I try to avoid those after that one experience I had where that guy ripped me off.
Yeah, what happened with that? What was that?
You remember the 940, the 940-1 I bought off that kid on Facebook, and he shipped me an empty package?
No, I never heard about that. That's crazy.
Yeah, this happened. I thought you were on the channel. Maybe you weren't on the chat because we talked about it on the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was selling it on the U.S. Knife Traders Facebook group, and was selling it for like a really good price. And I'd wanted to try one out, so I grabbed it, and he sent me the tracking and everything. Sent me a picture of the package, like went all out. But he didn't use PayPal. He used Google Wallet, and well, he thought that he was going to get away with something. So he sold me and one other guy the same exact knife. Like, so he tried to sell. He sold it to me and got the money, and then he got the money from another guy. And then he didn't send the other guy. He sent the other guy a package full of like trash. Like it was like bolts and all kinds of weird stuff.
That's
What weirdest stuff. And then he sent me like an empty envelope, like a strip empty. And I'm like, well, someone ripped this open. I'm like, no, it doesn't look like it's been ripped open, you know. And so, you know, with the Facebook groups and stuff, you don't have any like repercussion. Like a forum, sometimes like moderators will step in, try to make it, you know, pressure on the guy to make it right. You can at least leave negative feedback. You can look and see, do they have feedback at all? You know what I mean? Like on the Facebook groups, you can't do that. So I'm kind of like, I've done a few trades on there without any issues. But I tend to stick to the forum just because I can look at someone's feedback and say, okay, yeah, they've done 50 transactions, they got 100% feedback, you know.
Yeah, and I think that that's a smarter thing if you have an established profile on a forum. Like one thing that I like, I'm registered on Blade forums, and I think I'm definitely registered on USN, and there are probably some other knife forums that I'm registered on. I don't think I'm on Jersey Devils, but it takes time to like get to know people there and like feel like, because I don't want to be a guy who just like spam posts stuff. Like if I'm going to be on a forum, I actually want to interact with the members there and like form relationships. And so like I still probably only have 10 posts on Blade forums or something because like I'm not going to just go on there to buy. I mean, I guess I could go on there to buy stuff, but I sort of feel like that's not. I mean, I don't know. What do you think about that? I mean, what do you think of guys who just go on to buy or sell things? I mean, it seems like those are not the kind of people that I would want to be interacting with on a forum.
You know, I started on there, and I didn't have. You have to have like a gold membership to sell on there.
Right. Yeah.
And I didn't have one, and I was just kind of like into knives, noodling into knives and stuff. So I was part of the Kershaw forum over there, and I met a lot of good people on that forum. And then the traditional knife forum there is really good.
Yeah, it sounds. I mean,
both of those, but I don't post a whole lot anymore because there's just a lot of drama on that site, man. I don't know what it is. The Kershaw ended up closing down their entire sub forum because they had so much problem with. I mean, I don't know how else to say this, but there's just a bunch of whiny little girls on that forum, man, like that are just, oh, Kershaw doesn't or ZT doesn't tell us when the knives are coming out, and you know they say it's going to be out, and 6 months later, and it's like. They just whine and whine and whine and whine about stuff like that. And Kershaw had finally had enough and pulled out of there. They just said, screw it.
Yeah, right.
We're not even going to have a sub form anymore because they have to pay to have it on there.
Right.
But they used to have Thomas Welk, who was like one of the main dudes at Kershaw, was like always in there, like interacting with the members, and it was cool,
Yeah, that's awesome.
If you go into the Chris Reeve forum, one of the girls, I can't remember her name, I'll have to look, she actually constantly stops by there and, says such, kind of joins in the conversation. I've seen that with Lion Steel, the Gianni guy. He's pretty active on there. So that is pretty cool. But lately I'm pretty much doing that, just buying and selling. I mean, I have a lot of posts and, I have a lot of feedback, and but I didn't go there with that intention, no. And I think people that do, sometimes like they, like this guy on Facebook, he actually went on there I think with the entire intent to rip someone off. But what he did is he did a couple of trades and sales or interactions,
Yeah.
and got some like positive like, not because you can't really judge feedback there, but he got some people that would vouch for him, kind of thing, you know. So because I had when I made my thread saying this guy ripped me off on Facebook, these guys were like, really, I just bought a knife from him, or he just did a trade and everything was fine. I'm surprised, you know. But then
Right.
this other guy pipes in and is like, wait, this guy sold me the same knife and didn't send it to me either. So he just took, this much money from us, and
Yeah.
we both ended up getting our money back from Google Wallet. Google Wallet does investigate things just like PayPal does.
Hmm.
It's a little bit lengthier process, unfortunately, so it took a while, but I did get all my money back. And he got charged back, and what's bad for him is it went out right out of his bank account. So, like, one day he's probably like, what the, he lost that money right out of his bank, it just disappeared.
That's hilarious. Yeah,
Yeah.
The worst someone ever tried to rip me off. I had a Rolex actually. I had a Rolex Air King, the dress watch. It was worth about $2,000, and I sold it on eBay. I've been on eBay for over 10 years, so I have a pretty good feedback buying and selling there. And I decided to sell on eBay because Air Kings were selling for substantially more on eBay than they were on the forums at the time I was selling it.
Yeah.
And I got a great price for it and stuff. And the guy got it, and he tried to convince me that it was fake. He's like, there are problems with this watch that make me think that it's been tampered with, blah, blah, blah. And what I realized was this is what this guy does with all the watches he buys. He tries to intimidate the sellers into giving him partial refunds. Because he only wanted like $400 back. He's like, I'll still keep the watch. You can just give me X amount of dollars back, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hell no. The watch is 100% authentic and there's no problems. And eventually I caught him on some inconsistent facts, and then he just disappeared. So that was like the worst thing that's ever happened to me, is just have some guy try to rip me out that way.
Yeah.
I've only been on Instagram now for a few months, but like there's a pretty trustworthy group of buyers and sellers on Instagram too. Like,
yeah, I've had nothing but good experience on there too. I've sold and bought from there quite a few times.
would you say you get best prices on forums still, or?
It depends. Sometimes people on Instagram have really good prices. Sometimes they're out of their mind, with their prices.
Yeah.
The forums kind of dictate, pricing more because there's more for sale. If that makes sense. Like they kind of set the prices, like eBay does. Like eBay, like those ET. Oh man, why can't I think of the number? The 454s.
Yeah.
People were selling those on eBay for $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of set the price. Like, well, they sold for $1,000, so is that how much the knife's worth then?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
The forums, however, are usually a lot cheaper than eBay. You're right about that. So, because I think I saw them sold on the forum, for like a couple $100 less, nothing more, than that. So, but there's kind of that funny like fine line, I think, between people that are like they think that, and there's nothing wrong with this because I think there's a good camaraderie in the knife community. I have a lot of friends that in the knife community and such, but there's also this like, oh, you can't sell something for what it's actually worth because that's not being a bro. You know what I mean? Like, you're not being a bro because you're selling that knife for $600 when you paid this much. Well, it's like, well, that's how much it's worth because someone set that price when they, you know what I mean? Like, that's what they're selling for, so why isn't it worth that much? You know what I mean?
Well, and I've definitely done bro-dos with people for watches as well as other gear, but like that's completely voluntary. Like, I mean, if I want to give someone a really good price that's like lower than the value, like that's like not something I'll advertise. Like, definitely like I had I don't know, I forget where it was, but I was trying to sell some EDC item on one of the Facebook groups, and some guy got on my case that I was asking. I wasn't giving the price that you could get it on in the code on USN, and I'm not even on the Cove, so I have no idea what they sell for there. And I know that sales forum in particular, they sell amongst friends a lot. And there's like there's a created expectation for best prices and stuff there. So I was like, sorry, dude, like doesn't matter to me how much it sells for on the Cove. This is what I'm asking for it.
Yeah, you know, in a lot of those Facebook groups, and it's a rule on Blade forums too, that they've made it pretty clear that you're not supposed to post things like that on people's for sale. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You don't
totally.
agree with it, just don't buy it and move on. You don't need to say anything, you know. So I did that with that. I sold that ZT 454 I had because I could never bring myself to carry that thing, and I sold it for, I think I listed it for pretty close to what they were selling on eBay. And I'm like, if it doesn't sell at this price, no big deal. But if it does, well, good for me. I just made extra. You know what I mean? I made
Oh
extra.
yeah, sure. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And I got like on that Facebook forum group, U.S. Knife Traders.
Yeah.
I had people like freaking out on me, man. Like, that's not that knife's not worth that much. It sold for this much from ZT directly, and that's how much you should sell it to everyone for. And I was just like, well, not everyone was saying this. A lot of people were like, they're selling for like $1,000 on eBay, so this is actually a good price, you know. So shut up, you know, kind of thing. And there was like this big argument, and one of the guys was a moderator, you know.
Yeah.
But people were like calling me like, oh, you're not, you know, this, you shouldn't do this to the community, man. That's not cool. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, why should I sell it for what it's less than it's worth? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know. That's just my opinion on it, and people might think differently and think, you know, I was being greedy.
Like that's the thing is that to think that you could impose one set of expectations uniformly, it seems to me like that's being very unfair. You know, like another guy that got a lot of crap selling a 454 for cheap was Dan on Blade Reviews. You know, BladeReviews.com.
Yeah.
Well, on the Gear Geeks Live podcast, he got a 454 in a lottery, and then he sold it for $2,000 or something to a clunker who needed it like right then and there. I don't know exactly the story, but like, I mean, that was one of those things where like, he could have easily checked up with guys who wanted to buy it, and you know, personal friends, and made a deal with them. But the fact that he chose to do something else is like totally up to him. Like, it's up to him to decide to do that. Like,
it's his property. He can do whatever he wants with it. I don't think any less of someone for doing that. I mean, the fact that someone paid that much for that thing is out of this world. But you know what I mean? Good for him. You know, like, I don't know.
To me, that like it's kind of like we talk about bro prices and stuff, and sometimes I feel like that, like, I mean, I've met guys on forums that I really do consider friends, and feel like I've formed relationships with them. And then there are other, there have been other times where I feel like it's just an affectation so that people can kind of like, get the inside deals, and that's sort of like, I see that on YouTube channels too, guys who really care about other people's YouTube channels, and other guys who interact just because it's beneficial for them, right? I mean, I think that that's the kind of thing that you just got to kind of look out for. You got to be able to discern who are the people that you really want to be spending your time interacting with, and I mean, what's the best way to? I mean, what are the kind of deals you really want to make? I mean, I actually don't buy and sell watches nearly as much as I used to, just because it's just a drag. Like, it's a lot of investment to do that. I mean, a lot of to pay in the ass, I guess.
Yeah, it can be. I've had the same problem with knives, that I've sold, and sometimes it's like easy, and sometimes you're like, oh, this is not worth it. What am I doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think that it's one of those things where, I mean, I'm definitely appreciative of the fact that, like, there's enough of a group of collectors that you can do this kind of thing. I mean, I remember the first time I found about forums, like, probably mid-2000s. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that there are people out there that are doing this,
Yeah.
I mean, I've definitely learned a ton from forums. Like, I'm not against the forums per se, but I definitely feel like in order to be a meaningful member of a forum, you have to have a certain level of participation and interaction with the people there. And if you're not willing to do that, then it doesn't make sense to spam post or whatever. Like I lurk a lot of forums that I never post in because I feel like I don't have anything to contribute. Um, but
Wish I could see it right now. This is getting really annoying.
that's weird.
Looking at a black screen.
I can totally see you, and it's like you're like it's what it reminds me of is like it sounds weird, but if you talk to a blind person, they like don't act like you're there, even though they know that you're there. They're just like they're not using their eyes at all. One question I want you to talk me through some traditional knives. Like what are some basics that I mean, as someone who basically has only ever collected traditional knives, basically because they're in the family. So like the first knife I ever got was a Remington Stockman, and I mean I've got a bunch of buck knives and stuff. But like especially like the the GEC Northwoods types of knives. Like what are some I don't know shapes or what are some basic things that you think are worth knowing about like at this, I mean, basically, given where I'm at, where I'm sort of starting to collect them, but I don't, like, I feel pretty overwhelmed at this point.
Yeah, and I'm not much farther ahead of you. I mean, that's the thing. I've just started recently myself, and what I've come to, you kind of it's just like every kind of knife, really. You kind of got to try ones to see if you like them, and then you might end up selling them. You know what I mean? And getting a new one in. I find that some things that I prefer, and I'm not real picky on like the steels, the traditional. Most of them use 1095, but some use like some stainless steels, and that doesn't bother me. Some guys are real picky; they want nothing but carbon steels on a traditional knife.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, is that just like the more orthodox, or I don't know, like is that the more traditional standpoint? Is that the old ones had carbon steels, so they want?
Yeah, and most of the GECs have 1095 and. This Northwoods is 1095. Some of the Northwoods are in different steels, but GEC pretty much only does 1095 or 440C stainless. That's like pretty much the steels they do. Queen Cutler does like D2 and some other ones, but Queen's not up to the same quality. I've kind of decided that the sweet spot size-wise, you kind of got to figure that out with the traditional because there's some pretty large traditionals that may be smaller even than what you'd carry in a modern folder, but for some reason on a traditional knife just feels too big to me. It feels like they should be like a secondary backup knife. They should be not even a backup, like a sheeple-friendly knife that you can pull out. The rest people aren't gonna like bat an eye because it's a traditional folder.
Yeah.
So there's kind of that size, like the 15, the number 15 that you got. That's like pretty much the smallest I like to go on a traditional, just because everything else feels too small.
Right.
But I don't want to go any bigger than like even 4 inches is pushing it closed on a traditional.
Right. I mean, I feel like some of the rules apply as far as length and width that apply with folding knives, but like for example, this 15, it's still within an acceptable width range for me, except that it's got these 2 back springs that are like pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Like this is a heavy knife. Like this is heavier than some of the like big tactical folding knives that I have. And so I mean, it's not as pocket friendly as I was hoping it would be, even though all of the dimensions are totally good, because I notice it in my pocket. Like it's definitely not like carrying a cadet or something where it's like you don't even know it's there until you like have to check and make sure that it's there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I find, and that's one thing I've kind of came to the conclusion, man, is that I don't really like the blade design much. I like the single blade traditionals. That's kind of what I've decided I like. Every time I get a 2-blade traditional, I'm kind of like you said, I'm like, it's a little wide, it's a little heavy for what it is. I'll never use that little small pen blade. It's just kind of too hard to get out. Like,
what would be the utility of that blade? Would it just be for like opening letters and stuff? I mean, what was it? Do you know what it was originally?
A lot of guys whittle with that blade, that little small blade.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah, maybe that's one thing. But I find I prefer the single blade. You know, like you said, the clip points are great, and a lot of traditionals are clip point. You don't see a lot of you know, drop points as much. I mean,
Right.
you do, but clip points are more common. And then the Warncliffs are very common, which I love Warncliffe blades. They're really, you know, useful for EDC stuff.
Yeah.
And then the Sheepfoot, you know. So, you know, blade styles, not, I don't have a lot of preference there. I just find that I like a knife that's under probably 3. I mean, this 3 7/8 inch Northwoods is probably the longest I want to go in a traditional.
Yeah.
And the shortest I want to go is a 3.5, like that 15. So it's, you know, there's a smaller range there on a traditional knife, I think, than there is like on a modern folder. You know, like this Lion Still is like, it's the smaller one, it's a 4-inch handle, but it's like perfect. But like if I had a 4-inch traditional, it would feel too big.
Right.
If that makes any sense. It's kind of weird. It's just a personal preference thing. Like, I find myself carrying smaller knives now, even in modern folders, but you know, I still have that limit. Like, you know, the Sebenza is like, the small Seb is like the perfect size knife, but anything smaller on a modern folder, I don't think I could do. You know, it's just, but that comes from, I think, owning a ton of different knives and carrying those big, heavy folders, tactical folders for a long time, and realizing that I don't need a 7-ounce knife in my pocket.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, this is a good topic. Did you watch? Do you watch the Apostle P channel?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sure.
Did you see his video he did on the how he's kind of ranting on that?
Uh, which what was it on? I haven't checked his channel in probably about a week. So
It's been longer than a week. It was he was talking about. I just want to look it up real quick since I have this other screen open. Oh, actually, that'll kick me out of the chat. Don't do that. Not out of the chat, but out of the little window here. What it was titled? He was basically kind of ranting about because he had a Ramon Chavez 228. You know, that someone had sent him, I think. He also had like that CRKT hijinks, and he kind of went on this rant that he was like, you know, why do we need all these freaking big, heavy tactical folders? You know what I mean? That don't cut. They're like sharpened pry bars. You know.
yeah.
And it was kind of okay. Knife Rant it was called Knife Rant. It was on January 6th. It said overbuilt folders, Mall Ninja with money blades. Mall Ninja with money. And it was kind of funny because he was showing like a Delica, which he wasn't calling that way. He was showing all these pretty popular knives like a Benchmade mini grip, a small Sebenza, Strider, and then he brought out like this Chavez, and he's like, this thing is just overdone. You know what I mean? And kind of funny because I had to like pretty much agree with everything he said because I had that Chavez, and that's like a hot knife right now, man. Everyone's looking for that mid-tech, and it's so popular. And I'm like, this is one of the most impractical knives I think I've ever had. I mean, and it's the smaller version, dude. The full-size the custom is even bigger than that. And it wasn't like, that's the thing, it wasn't that big. It was like a 3¼ inch blade and maybe like 4¼ inch handle. It's not really that big. It was the fact that it weighed like 7.5 ounces, the fact that it like was so thick, that the blade stock was like so thick on it. I'm like, what do I need to stick a blade stock for on a folding knife?
Right. Yeah.
And that's kind of what I recommend everyone go watch that video because I think he's pretty spot on it. And I don't really consider people that like those nice Mall Ninjas. I think that's a little taking it a little too far. But for me, it just kind of, I just agree. I'm like, I'm with you. I don't really like those kind of folders anymore. And that's kind of like where knife designers are at. If you look at most custom knife designers and guys like on Instagram and stuff, that's the kind of knives they're making, is those big, heavy titanium. It's like as thick as they can go, the better on the blade stock, and as thick as they can go on the scales of the knife is, that's what they're going for. And then you got Chris Reeves that's been doing this for how long, And I'm like, this titanium frame lock is probably just as strong, and it weighs 3 ounces. You know what I mean?
Like,
the scales are not that thick. They don't need to be. And I don't know. It was a good video. I recommend it. It's definitely worth a watch. It's a 20-minute plus video. I can't stay for 20 minutes. I don't have. Maybe I'm like a child. I don't have the attention span for that. But, that's why most of my knife videos are not more than 10 minutes long, typically, because I don't. And he did say I was a rant. 21 minutes, yeah. But a lot of his videos. But I think he was pretty spot on. The one thing that he mentioned was the cutting performance of those knives is very poor.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to a Spyderco Delica or a Sebenza or a traditional knife. Even traditional knives cut better than most knives do.
Yeah.
Don't you think? I mean, that's my experience. When I use those little guys, I'm like, these things are little razors, man. They're like, I've cut myself more with traditional knives than I have with modern folders.
Yeah, I mean, you're just talking about a super manageable blade stock, and they're ground really thin, and I mean,
yeah, they just slice and cut things like they're supposed to, and it's kind of funny, and I think the video is good, man, because he talks about how the Sebenza really kind of changed the knife marketplace, in a lot of ways, but these guys took it like to another level with these big heavy, overbuilt folders. That's not kind of what Christery was trying to do. He kind of took that same traditional knife, like ground thin, good slicers, but he, made them out of premium materials. He made them and he made a locking, knife.
Right. Yeah.
And he made it out of titanium with high-end steel. Like his philosophy was he kind of took that, I think, from the traditional folder. If you look at the Menandi, that's why I did that video. The Menandi is like a traditional knife, but it's made of titanium and it locks. It has a locking, it's a frame lock. Yep. But it's got so many traditional knife attributes. It's got a small blade, it's smaller, it's got it always has some sort of nice wood inlay on it, kind of like traditional knives do. Yeah. And that's one thing I love about traditionals, man. I mean, you kind of got to decide. You'll find, I think, when you buy traditionals that you may like I don't like Stag at all. Like, it's just inconsistent. Like, you never know what you're going to get with a Stag knife. The handle might be really thick because the Stag is just the way it is. It's kind of inconsistent. So I stick with
some of them are like super asymmetrical. Like one side is like way fatter than the other.
Yeah.
Like I don't think this is a jig bone. They don't call it a scale. They call it a cover. Is that right?
Yeah.
So the cover is super consistent and super nice here. I mean, like on this 15, and I have a Kokobo inlay on the 47 that I have, and that one is also the scales or the cover is perfect. So like that, I think that I'd like to get a linen micarta traditional.
That's one of my favorite materials, man. I've got a few micarta traditionals, and I love it. That's like one of my all-time favorites.
I really like that scale material as well. And per what you said about tactical folding knives and stuff, I think it's interesting because custom knives are still really huge right now. Like on Instagram, like there's just generally a lot of interest in custom knives right now.
Yeah.
But I think even a lot of the most popular custom maker guys, like I'm thinking like GTC or something, or even like who's another example? Well, like didn't Brous just come out with a smaller folding knife?
Yeah, he did. He came out it's a Sal Monero. Are you talking about the one that just announced today?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Sal Monero collaboration with him.
Okay.
And it's man, I like the look of it. I like the size. It's got like a 3-inch blade. Yeah. And I'm like, man, this might be nice. Then I'm like, why does it weigh so much, and why is it $450?
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, whoa, like that's expensive. And I know that Brous kind of considers himself to be custom, kind of like semi-custom.
Yeah.
But I just can't help but compare it to like a Sebenza. Like, well, that's more than a Sebenza is, and I don't, you know what I mean? It's not made of any better materials.
I could imagine spending a lot on like a Southern mid-tech.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine spending a lot on a Brous. I mean, even like the Turpin Strife collaboration that Brous did, like those knives look pretty impressive. But like I would never want to own that knife. because it looks friggin' thick and I mean it doesn't look practical at all. But I mean, what I was going to say is that it seems like a lot of the higher end makers are moving away from like the pure tactical. I mean, the Chavez in some ways, the thing that I thought was interesting about it is it almost seemed like a little behind. Like people are interested in like innovative locks, like the Stan Wilson non-flipper flipper, and Shier Gorov has all these cool multi-row bearing systems and stuff. Like people are getting interested in the technology side and in the art side, like all the crazy Damasteel blade knives and stuff. Like they're moving away from like the fact that at one point, if you wanted like just like a crazy, humongous knife, you would get a custom knife. I mean, the Chavez is so plain. I'm sure that it's built well. I mean, like I don't know anything about the maker, so I don't want to like say like, oh, you're buying like just some stupid slabs of titanium and a piece of crap knife. I mean, but like. I mean, I think it's interesting how custom knives are. I mean, because obviously the huge knives are like the Instagram darlings. Like, I mean, you're guaranteed to get 1 million likes if you're like posting these humongous custom knives. But even lately, it seems like the trend is moving away from like just purely tactical custom knives. I mean, just as an observer, it seems to me that that's what's going on.
No, I agree. I agree.
But
that's kind of why I've gone to traditionals because they're more unique to me. There's the different handle materials. It's just kind of like I don't know. And a lot of those guys that are into those big overbuilt high tactical folders, a lot of them are into traditionals too.
Right. Yeah,
so
and that's
kind of cool.
You're seeing kind of an interest in craftsmanship, and I mean I think that actually the thing that unifies customs and traditionals for me is not that like I've heard some people say like. Well, I carry a custom knife to have my big, huge, gnarly fighting knife, and then I carry a traditional to have like my daily use knife. Like, for me, I think that the interest that is united in customs and in traditionals is craftsmanship.
Yeah.
These GECs are like very well made. I mean, like this little 15 that I have that I got in a trade is not even like a flagship model of theirs at all. And it is pretty flawless. I mean, this knife you would spend $80 for. Like the build quality on this is definitely better than like a Spyderco Delta or something. And in some ways, it's much more interesting. Like, I mean, just the choice. These rich, intricately assembled covers, and I mean, I think you're paying more for some of these knives. You're paying just for the fact that they're exclusive or limited or handmade. But I can definitely see the intrinsic appeal of these traditional knives based on craftsmanship.
Yeah, they have a lot of good craftsmanship, and that's a funny topic too. I mean, we could talk this all night, and I don't want to have too long of a chat tonight, but that's a good topic. Like people say, I want to have my big overbuilt tactical folder. And then I'm gonna have this traditional, the one that's gonna see all the use,
Yeah.
And for me, I just don't picture knives as a weapon, really. Like they can be, but I carry a gun, man, and I'm not gonna pull out a knife unless I had to have like, lost my weapon and been like up close or something. I don't know. Like it's just.
If there's any concern for my personal safety, and I have to go to a situation where there's that kind of concern, I'm always gonna carry it. I mean. I work in school zone, so I can't always carry, but I would carry every day if I could. I mean, especially after all this freaking stuff is happening in Europe, I mean, in France, it just makes me realize, I mean, to me, we could talk about Nut and Fancy's video about France's gun laws or whatever, but to me, I think that if I used a knife as a defensive weapon, it would practically be an improvised weapon because I have no formal training in knife fighting at all.
Exactly.
And it would be a huge risk. Like everything I've read about knife fighting, the first thing everyone says is, "Hey, guess what? It's super dangerous." And like big surprise because you're talking about like huge pointy things. And guess what? Bodies don't respond well to those, like. So like, I hope I am never in a knife fight because that is not going to end well. Like, even if I like survive, like, it sounds terrible.
Yeah, no, and the whole saying, I'm not going to bring a knife to a gunfight kind of thing either. So.
Right. Yeah.
So speaking of that, we can kind of move over to guns a little bit. That's a good topic. Hawaii Volcano Squad in the comments was saying, well, let's do a little shout out real quick. We got a Hawaii Volcano Squad, Paper Tigers join us, Living Survival, um, Paper Tiger. I think I already said that. We've got Sick Man in here, Trunk Man Jim. So we've got a few new people in here. But he was saying that Papa John's just announced there was a Papa John's pizza delivery woman that was carrying, and she was attacked. Someone tried to rob her.
Huh.
And Papa John's is standing by her actions because she opened fire on the armed robber in self-defense. And
Wow, awesome.
so they're standing by. Like, wasn't it? We did a topic on one of the chats where someone got fired for that. I think it was Walmart or somewhere, where someone got fired on the job for using their weapon or something. They lost their job because of it. So that's cool to see that that Papa John's is like, good on you. Oh, is that doctor? It was that doctor. Remember in that hospital with the guy went crazy and the doctor?
Yeah, I do remember. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just cool that Papa John stands behind their employees like that, and that she used her gun in self-defense, and that makes me want to buy a Papa John's pizza right there.
Yeah, I know. I could stand to have a pizza right now. Did you read the story? There was a story that came out in the last couple of days. I think it was a school in Connecticut or on the East Coast about they sent home a letter asking parents to bring canned goods to the school so that the kids could use improvised weapons. Did you hear that story?
No.
I'm trying to look it up right now. It's ridiculous. It came out, I think it was before the parachuting. Yeah, here it is. It is great. I'm getting the story up right now. It was even on CNN. In Valley, Alabama, officials are considering as part of their training the use of cans to throw at an armed intruder who entered the school. Part of the ALICE training, which is like the standard, response, non-weaponized response training to school. But like, man, that's the thing to me about that, and I'm sure you'll agree with me with that, is the school is promoting the use of weapons for self-defense, but they're so locked into their anti-gun ideology that they can't recognize, like, get some teachers some freaking gun training.
Yeah.
And you expect a child to throw a canned good at a live shooter, and that's going to prevent your school shooting?
It's not funny, but it is. Can you just see kids throwing cans of food?
I get like it's some guy with an AK. Like, it's so ridiculous. It's like something I think it's like an SNL skit or something. Like,
yeah, it does not sound real. It sounds like it's supposed to be funny or something. That's just crazy.
Yeah. So like, I mean, yeah, I want to get the letter because the letter is hilarious. It's like an excellent example of like someone like trying to reason in logic that is broken. I mean, to me, if the way that you empower safety and the way that you eliminate soft targets is by ensuring that they're not soft. Like, have people there to protect the people. I mean, not that every teacher needs to have like open carrying or something, but like a school could even secretly make an arrangement to have a couple teachers be concealed carry holders. That would be a responder, and like that would be a lot more prudent to me than like have everyone hide under a desk and grab their canned food. Let me look for the letter. I'm trying to find it. Yeah, here's a screenshot of the letter. Okay, I found it. Dear parents and guardians, we are dedicated to educating and keeping our children safe at school. As a result of school shootings throughout the United States and discussing with law enforcement the best procedure to follow to keep our students safe, we are enhancing our procedure for intruders. The procedure will be the same as what we've done in the past, with the addition of arming our students with a canned food item. We realize this might seem odd, however, it is a practice that would catch an intruder off guard. The canned food item could stun the intruder or even knock him out until police arrive. I can't even read this without cracking up. It will give students a sense of empowerment to protect themselves and make them feel secure in the case of an intruder. In in the case an intruder enters their classroom. I'll tell you what, if my kid feels secure with his canned good when some guy comes in with a weapon, my son is really stupid because he's not safe because he has a canned good. Your canned corn or your tuna is not going to save you from a man with a firearm. Like, you are crazy if you think that that's going to keep your kid safe.
Seriously. No, it's seriously, that is one of the funniest things I've heard, dude. That's kind of mind blowing. That that's
I mean,
throw cans of corn or cans good. I mean, it would hurt.
Tag it in because it'll empower your child to feel safe. Like, that's the thing that I think is so true about the nanny state is what it's all about is it isn't actually about keeping people safe. What it is giving the feeling of safety. It's an emotive thing. It's not an actual real thing. And that sentimentality of being safe is exactly what I mean fucking happened in France. You know, it's difficult to get a weapon there. People were not. I mean, this was a high-profile terrorist target, and they had one armed guard there. Like, what were they thinking? Did they really feel like their country was so safe? I mean, I don't think that these people were just careless. I mean, I don't know. I listen to that kind of reason. I think like there's a disconnect from reality. I mean, not only not understanding a live shooter situation, but also like even knowing what safety is. You know. I'm sorry, I'm ranting a little bit.
Good. No, I think you're spot on. It's kind of my. I mean, that's a prime terrorist target. Why did they attack there? You know, I was comparing it. I mean, I hate to compare it to 9/11 because that is a horrible tragedy, but it's similar. It was a terrorist attack on their nation. You notice that they didn't try to do that kind of thing in the United States. They didn't try to like take it to the the foot soldier, so to speak, and on the ground. And do that same kind of thing because they are afraid of U.S. citizens because they know that we are all armed. And if something like that happened in the United States, a lot of people would fight back, and they don't want that resistance. That's why they attack where they attack. That's why they attack, and that's why people attack in gun-free zones because there's no guns. I mean, it's just logic. But that a place like that is prime for a terrorist attack because they have no security. They have strict gun laws. Same with Great Britain, There's a lot of things that happen there that they have horrible gun laws. Australia has a huge murder rate, and they don't have guns there. It's like you could sit there and throw these facts at people, and they're like, it's like it goes in one ear and out the other, and there's like anti-gun, That's all they can think, anti-gun. It's like they're brainwashed.
Right. I mean, and it's really unfortunate because I think that for me, a country that fosters a respect and an appreciation of firearms, and truly empowers their citizens to be responsible, is going to be safer. I mean, the idea that somehow people are intrinsically irresponsible and dangerous when they're given dangerous things is a very misanthropic way of looking at people. It's a very sorry state that has to look at its citizens like they're children, rather than the actual people that are. I mean, it's the people that are making the country free. It's not the government that makes it free. Freedom and I mean, living well, living in a safe way is going to be up to the people. Bottom line.
No, and that's the socialistic thing is that they've made them think that the government will do all that for them. And that's the whole idea is they rely too much on the government and they're not relying enough on themselves. Exactly. I mean that's exactly what President Obama is trying to do in the United States. He's trying to make it so we're like a socialist nation. So we'll have more people rely more on the government for everything than they do themselves, and that's not what our country is built on.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not like a guy who like I'm not willing. Like I've read some commentators who say things like, well, they had it coming, or these kind of terrorist attacks, are going to go away with better gun laws or something. Like, no, people will still be caught off guard because people who act completely depraved will always be unpredictable. I mean, it's like terrorist attacks are super random. Like, holding up a random grocery store, like, I mean, it's the kind of thing that even prepared people, I mean, I don't want to like be the macho guy who's like, oh yeah, if I'm like randomly in a live shooting situation at Walmart, I've got it under control. Like, no, like that would be really a situation that would test any little skills that I have. And I'm willing to admit that. But the thing is I would rather have those, rather that other people have those skills and experiences than nothing at all, and they're depending on the police to roll in whenever they do roll in. And hopefully they have more than just 9mm, SIG P 2022s when they get there. Hopefully they have the right kind of stuff. I mean, for me, the hardest part, I mean, the whole French tragedy was terrible. But one of the things that was the hardest for me was just seeing the cops just get shot.
Yeah.
I felt like, wow. I hope that that country has a reawakening. I mean, we're having a crisis of police force in this country too, right? I mean, kind of going the opposite direction that people are, many people are arguing that our police have become too militarized. But one thing's for dang sure is I hope that we're never at a point where our terrorists can, a terrorist can come into our country and shoot a cop on the street, and that's the end of it. They can drive away.
Yeah.
That is messed up. I mean, that it was just an execution, that the one cop who got shot on the sidewalk. I mean, I think that our country has a lot more in place to prevent these kind of terroristic, events from happening.
Yeah.
I hope people are willing to keep an open mind about that. I mean, I hope that there's some reform that happens, because so the thing that is crazy to me is people saying, like, well, these terrorist attacks, there's nothing you can do about it. Like, I mean, that's the thing. The really far extreme progressive attitude is that you need to just reform Islam. There's nothing you can do about terrorist attacks, which is basically a way of saying, like, there's no way you can control your own safety. I think that that's like a very messed up position to take.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's a dangerous way to think, for sure.
Well, it's dangerous for it's endangering innocent people. I mean, it's not even dangerous like it's going to make you look at the world in a messed up way, which it will. But it's actually like not. It's against securing peace, which any republic should be concerned with. I mean, maintaining peace is one of the basic goods of any government, of any society. And I mean, weapons have always been a tool for maintaining peace. And as soon as you start looking at tools for peace as something other than that, then you're going to really be putting your whole civilization at risk. I mean, the stakes are high. Like, I mean, that's why I care about guns. I mean, more than just as a hobby. Like, I mean, I think that it's an important political issue because I think it concerns the safety of the republic ultimately.
It absolutely does. Yeah, and I'm with you. Hopefully France can learn from this, and if they can't learn from this, then you just got to wonder, man, are they going to ever? Because something like this you think would open their eyes, and say, wow, maybe we need to have, tighter security. Maybe we need to allow our citizens to be armed, that they could, I mean, I don't know. Who's to say that, if there was a bunch of ardent citizens there, that anyone would have done anything anyway? Who knows? But,
yeah.
But that's why you don't see very many attacks on U.S. soil like that, because, that's why, I think I stand behind that school of thought that the reason why the United States has never been invaded is because of there's a, what's the saying? There's a gun on every blade of grass or something like that. You know what I mean? That you're not going to see a militant force try to parachute down into U.S. soil and try to take over by ground.
Right.
It's just not going to happen because there's going to be so much resistance, and I don't think it'll ever happen, But it will if we become like France, if we become unarmed, if they try to take away our guns and make us more vulnerable, then that could lead us open to a big attack like that,
Yeah. I mean, and I feel like we're already getting in dangerous waters in that regard, because we're already starting as a American culture to accept the idea that safety isn't up to us. All those school shootings are tragedies, but they're not tragedies because of our gun laws. They're tragedies because we live in a society where deranged people don't get the help that they need, where kids are bullied to a point where they feel like they need to enact violence on people for their revenge, and there are not all the social checks and balances to get those people help. It has nothing to do with the fact that they can steal a gun from their father-in-law or whatever it is. It has everything to do with the fact that as a society we need to be trying to be more intentional to care for those people that are marginalized and potentially dangerous even. Um, but being responsible gun owners is something that's only going to protect people.
It's we just real quick, Andrew. That's this is a great conversation, but just to look at the comments right here, I just noticed Gun Websites was in here, and they asked if we mind if we post this chat for the gun channels people to watch, and I have absolutely zero problem with that. I mean, more exposure the better. So
Guns.com?
Yeah, Gun Websites.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a large YouTube channel. It's 100 and something thousand subscribers. They're part of that network with a lot of those bigger gun channels. So I'm definitely up for that. Feel free to link that chat. We're gonna get it going back up again. We took a little bit of break there for a few weeks after the holidays to let some people recover and enjoy time with their family. But we'll be kicking it into full gear. So
yeah,
right on.
Bye too.
Yeah, pretty cool. So I think I do. I mean, do you have anything else you want to talk about? I was going to kind of wrap it up for tonight, but this is a good discussion we're having, so I'm open to more if you're interested.
No, I mean, I think that we kind of hit on some of the things that have been on my mind. I mean, I think that we're all, heck, I heard it on NPR this morning. We're still all talking about how to respond to this tragedy in France in a way that's meaningful. We're looking at the issues that are lurking underneath the events. I think it's important to take time in a tragedy to just recognize the tragedy and mourn the loss of life and abhor the violence. But I think that I mean, certainly with this tragedy in France in particular, they're being provocateurs to create conversation. They're exercising an extreme of freedom of speech so that people are becoming more self-aware of their own prejudices and their own perspectives. And so I feel like it's not entirely off base to talk about gun rights connected with it, or talking about the idea of, well, what do we really think freedom is if we're concerned about preserving it? What does freedom really entail? Is it something that the government is solely responsible for maintaining, or is it up to us as citizens, as members of a republic? And anyway, so I feel like even though it probably seems like a very heavy American bias if there's someone in France is listening to this, but I feel very biased in my American perspective here, because I feel like there are some things that are really useful. I mean, like you're agreeing with, basically, like some of these attitudes of self-reliance and responsible gun ownership could really serve to protect some of these other countries. That's the thing that I've been thinking a lot about. I mean, in addition to the gear stuff, it's always fun to talk now. And I appreciated the primer on traditional knives too, because I'm still figuring that out.
Yeah, it's fun. They're fun to collect too, and I like to have a little bit of both. So
I'll probably end up having both. I'm definitely not gonna sell everything. One quick question I had for you before we sign off.
Sure.
Who makes Indian River Jacks? The ones that have the 154 cm steel?
Queen makes those for Northwoods.
Have you handled those? How is the build quality on those compared to?
Yeah, I had one, and it was off center. Which for traditional knives is a big deal because you can't adjust the pivot.
Right.
So it was off center, and the fit and finish was not nearly as good as GC. I tend to stick away from those. I just, if it's Northwoods and I know it's made by GEC, if you go, here's kind of a nice little tip. Go on the GEC website. They have a blog that you can follow, and they will put a schedule on there of the knives they're working on, and they'll tell you if they're for Northwoods, or if they're just GEC.
Okay,
yeah, so they will. And Northwoods or Knife Ship Free will also do that. That's who does the Northwoods line at knifeshipfree.com.
Right.
They'll kind of do something on their website saying, hey, these are being made for us by, Northwood or GC. Derek's a little more That's the guy that runs North Knife Ship Free.
Yeah.
He wants to sell knives, and I think he, has that kind of more of an aspect of things. I mean, he's a great guy. Seems like a nice guy, and I've had nothing but good experience with his company. But they're kind of selling those Queen made knives for more than they should, in my opinion, because they're not even up to the quality of GEC. And Northwoods GECs are less expensive typically. Yeah. And I think it's saying, oh, it's got premium steel, which yes, it does, but the fit finish isn't up to par, so it kind of outweighs that, higher quality steel.
Yeah. Okay. Great. No, that's exactly the kind of thing I was wondering. And I mean, are there really any other traditional makers that are at the level of Great Eastern Cutlery at this point? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, Case does some collaborations with Tony Bow.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Those are very high quality. I have that one Tony Bow's Case collab, and it's actually my nicest slip joint by far. But those are like limited run, more expensive, and Tony Bow's I think has a pretty good hand in those knives, making sure that the quality's up to snuff. Because Case can be hit and miss too,
Right. Yeah. I haven't really looked into buying American-made cases for that reason, because my experiences with them have been pretty hit and miss. But
yeah, I recommend them.
Cool. Well, it was a lot of fun. I mean, heck, we ended up talking for close to an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Glad to be back at it. I appreciate you inviting me back. And
of course, you're always on, man. You're a panel member, man. We will always have you on if you can. One thing I did want to say, I was going to tell you that I just actually scored a G10 Delica on the exchange the other day.
Wow, cool, sweet.
Those are pretty rare. You don't see those for sale.
Like, yeah. I looked them up for sale a couple times. Like, did you pay a lot for it?
No, I paid $70 for it, I think.
The guy did not know what he was selling or something?
No, I mean, I don't think it's used, so I guess he was thinking, oh, it's used, I'm not going to sell it. But then it's funny, I snagged it because I knew it was going to go fast. And I've been wanting one of those because I love the Delica design, the size, everything's perfect, but I'm not a big fan of FRN handles.
Sure, yeah, most people aren't, yeah.
So the G10, and I tried the titanium one. I thought, well, there's a perfect solution. It's got titanium, Damascus. They're really gritty for some reason. I tried a couple of them.
Wow.
I handled like 3 of them at Blade HQ, and they all had really gritty actions. And I actually talked to a guy on Instagram that's a huge Spyderco collector. He has like every Spyderco ever made.
Oh.
I asked him, I said, hey, I'm like, is your titanium Delica really gritty? He's like, yeah. He's like, I don't know what it is, but all of them are. They're all really gritty. So I passed on that, which I'm glad I did because this G10 came up, and I'm like, well, that's perfect, So I was pretty happy about that one.
Is it broken in nice and everything? Got good action?
I haven't received it yet. It'll be here, I think, tomorrow.
Okay, wow, dude. Well, congratulations. I mean, honestly, with a knife like that, it would be hard for me to hang on to it because you could probably flip it for practically double what you paid for it.
Well, I'll be honest. That's kind of in the back of my mind, like, oh, I really want one of these, but geez, I bet I could make,
I know. Well, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I mean, and it's probably, I mean, in my opinion, it's a great knife for $70. But like, what I would probably do I mean, my perspective is I would flip that and then buy a ZDP Delica and just get aftermarket scales later on or something.
Yeah, because they do have those Putnam scales for the Delicas.
Yeah. I mean, those look all right. Those are not bad. I mean, it's sort of like pimping a Delica is kind of like, pimping a Cold Steel or something. Like, I don't know how much money I would really want to throw into something like that. But it's a cool knife for sure. I mean, I would enjoy it before you flip it because it's rare. I mean,
yeah.
I would have snatched that up for $70. That's a good price.
I wonder why they discontinued it. I can't imagine it wasn't popular.
I've kind of looked into why Spyderco discontinues some models, and there's not a lot of rhyme or reason. I mean, some of it's fueled by sales, and maybe it wasn't a good seller. But like, there have been plenty of times where I've like looked into why some model was discontinued or why it was reintroduced. Like, Spyderco just in the last week or so they came out with like a 2015 knife release, and there was a bunch of knives in there. It was so random. the PPT, which is like a Spyderco tactical plate knife. Like that's been discontinued for a while. Like I think at least a couple of years, and they're just reintroducing it for no reason. And like I don't know what's going on there. I don't think there's a
Yeah,
lot of reason.
I saw that they're dubbing that as a sprint run.
Oh, are they? Is that a sprint run? Okay, I didn't catch that when I didn't catch that on the release. Okay.
Yeah, it's got a black blade. The other one had a stonewashed or satin blade. I can't remember.
Right.
I've always liked that design. But I'm pretty sure it'll sell for too much than it's really worth. So.
Yeah, Spyderco's definitely been pushing the ceilings in their prices lately.
Oh man, have they ever? That Rubicon, $300. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I just don't see it for three. I mean, it was a cool knife, and I liked it when I had it, but I don't know if it's $300 nice. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
topic. Let's talk about that next week.
That's good.
Let's kind of talk about like knife value, price versus value thing. I think that's a good discussion to have.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be good.
We'll have to remember that as one of the topics. But thanks everyone for stopping by. Let's do one quick rundown real quick. We still got Gum Websites with us. Hawaii Volcano Squad. Thanks for staying the whole time, buddy. Living Survival. Have fun at SHOT Show. I'm jealous. I was trying to make it there this year. I'm trying to make it. Didn't put it all together in time to get the approval, for the media and stuff. So I'm gonna try for next year. And thanks again, Gun Websites. We definitely, appreciate the promotion of our chat. Let's see, we had Hawaii Volcano Squad, Paper Tiger, Matthew Hartsich, I already said that. Fringe Sniper stopped by for a while. I'm not sure if he's still around. So we had a pretty decent turnout for not having, having the chat for a few weeks. So we'll be back next week, guys. And if not, we'll make sure to put an announcement on my Google Plus page. That's the best place to go to know if the chat's going to happen is Google Plus.
Right.
Follow me on there, Knives, Guns, and Gear, same as the YouTube channel. I usually post on there if it's a link to the chat if it's going to happen or not. So,
yep.
Thanks for coming, Andrew. It's good to talk to you again, bud. I'm glad your wife's good and the van's getting covered.
Yeah, we got all that taken care of. So bump in the road, that's all. So.
Right on.
Yeah, well, look forward to next weekend. Thanks a lot for hosting. It was great.
Yeah, hopefully my computer doesn't do this crazy stuff again where I'm looking at a black screen. It's really weird.
Are you still looking at a black screen?
Yeah, I am, and I'm like looking at myself. That reflection.
Yeah, I know. It's super
talking into a mirror.
Look. What it looks like is you look like you're super sketchy right now because you look at the screen and then you glance away it's funny.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the other monitor I have because I can see you there. So it's that's why my eyes keep drifting. But I'm not sure how I'm going to end the chat because I can't see where to click.
Oh, great. That's nice.
End it on my other screen.
All
right, man. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Have a good night. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, thank you.